welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, gonna go over a story titled, My Parents Are Getting My Extended Family Involved Since I'm Distancing Myself from Them. And a big shout out to Yasin, however you pronounce it, for sharing this story. And guys, this is yet another story, I kid you not, these are popping up more and more, about a young guy who grew up in a household where he discovered that his parents were doing swinger lifestyles, polyamorous lifestyle, that type of thing. And they spent more time focusing on their playtime and playtime with their friends than actually being a good parent. Being there for him, taking him out, sporting events, being supportive, all of that. And it's got to the point when the guy got older, he's distanced himself from his parents. And even so far as you see that his mom ended up hooking up with a dude from his own high school. Someone in his grade once the guy was of legal age. I mean, talk about going home and seeing that, messing you up. And as you can imagine, he wants nothing to do with him. And there's all this drama and turmoil with the parents trying to get him back in their lives now that he's older in his 20s. His own girlfriend, who I think is a fiance at this point, and her family's pestering him. Other family members are pestering him, giving him a lot of crap about it. But this guy doesn't want to deal with it. He's had enough. He wants to move on. And these people have no business being parents. As in all these stories, they have no business being parents. They're shitty parents. And they actually cry and care and complain when there's consequences to their actions. And it's interesting as you're going to see that he's being given a hard time by her mom's sisters. Where were they when the parents were ignoring him as a child? Where were they when they were neglecting him? Because in some places, that's a problem. Neglect's a problem. But anyhow, guys, I've gone on enough. I'm going to show you this story here and see what you have to say about it. It says here, I shared my story before on Reddit a while ago under a different username. Out of frustration, I deleted my story and account. However, new stuff has come up. My therapist thought it was a good idea to share my story since it's cathartic and it feels secure for me. So, this might be a guy who I covered his story before, because there's a lot of stories that are very similar. Might be, but nevertheless, it's good and there's updates and all that. It says here, my parents came out to me as polyamorous and as swingers when I was 16 years old. Came out, huh? They told me they started swinging when I was little, which doesn't surprise me given how frequently gone they were as I was growing up. I used to think they used to prefer doing other stuff aside from spending time with as a family or with just me. They didn't outright neglect me as we did have dinner, family vacations, and I could come home from them for their advice. However, it was painfully obvious the majority of their happiness came from their marriage and adult lifestyle. Well, I got no problem. The mom and dad are very loving towards one another, you know what I mean by loving. Have hobbies and all that, because I don't think a parent's life should shut down completely when they have kids, but those kids are right up there in terms of top priorities. And this kid knew something was wrong. He obviously was right when he found out the truth. But these stories are all similar, that the parents are gone a lot. They miss things. They have strange people at the house all the time. Sometimes these kids walk in on things, hear things. And kids aren't dumb. They pick up on things. These people have no business being parents. When they came out to me, they started bringing the couple they had a relationship with over more frequently. No, they should not bring that shit home. That's bullshit. It's like they dropped all pretenses of being a normal family. The couple was every 3 to 4 days, or my parents were gone there every other week. It felt like I was pushed aside for this couple. If it felt that way, then obviously it was. Unfortunately, I had to go to community college to save up money so I could transfer for my engineering degree. My parents were nice enough to let me stay with them while I went to community college. In hindsight, it was a bad idea. I remember when I was 19, my mom had my former classmate Josh, over, and I found out in the worst possible way. At 19 years old, he finds out his mom is effing one of his former high school classmates. It's one thing if his parents, who probably at this point are in their 40s or so, are hooking up with other couples in their 40s, but a dude that just got out of high school, there are a lot of things that show they have a problem right here. No freaking respect. I started avoiding my parents and spent more time in the library. My grades were good enough for me to transfer out of the state. My parents visited multiple times, but I kept my distance. It's been 2 years now, and I get a call from my mother begging me to visit on her birthday. I gave her the usual BS that I was too busy. My dad then revealed everybody left them, and it hurts that I'm pushing them away. He just said Dad says that everybody left them. Gee, I wonder why. I went to the non-monogamous forums. They said I was too harsh. My girlfriend's parents, who I value a lot, said I was being too harsh also. So I decided to go. My parents tried to be physically affectionate with me, but I initially pushed them away until my mom started crying about it. Of course she was crying. I hope Mom brushed her teeth that day. My mom suggests I spend time with her by going to the mall together. What, so she can pick up more high school kids? This was the first time in a while that she's ever done that. She told me how sorry she was about Josh. I told her how I felt throughout those years. She started bursting into tears, shocker, and apologized profusely. People were looking at us, so I calmed her down by saying it was okay. My father got defensive when I went fishing with him. So I left the next morning and told them to not call me until I was ready to talk to them. Keep in mind, he's not that old, right? Sounds like he's in his early 20s. He's having to deal with all this bullshit. Who's the adult in this family? He is. Who are the children? Who are the teenagers that want to grow up? The parents. I noticed he said that his girlfriend, the parents, have been pressuring him, calling him too harsh. Well, guess what? It's none of their fucking business. You know? And he can respectfully tell it to her parents. He can tell her none of your fucking business. But they didn't grow up in a situation like him, so they don't get it. My mom said okay, and my dad called me drunk that night saying that I was the best thing ever happened to him besides meeting my mom. I cried after that call. Now I got all my relatives begging me to talk to my parents and calling me an a-hole. Well, you can tell your relatives to F off. Where were they when you were growing up, on your parents' butts about neglect and other things? Where was the support from them then? But now you're the bad guy, but I believe the ones giving him shit are his mom's female relatives. Shocker. My aunt says she's disappointed in me for not forgiving them. My cousins are keeping their distance. I'm still getting calls from my parents. They keep asking me to talk to them. Well, this guy needs a lot of time to figure things out, and you can't blame him. But again, welcome to Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0. If people want to engage in that lifestyle, do adult things, adult lifestyles, that's their business. Fair enough. I don't agree with it, but that's their business. That's their freedom. But when you bring children into the mix, then I got a fucking problem. And while this story may be a follow-up to another story I did, there's a lot of other ones that aren't in this story. It's the same story. As an update, he says, well, a lot has happened. My mom called me to see if I wanted to do Thanksgiving dinner with them. I told her I'm going to spend with my girlfriend's family. She then complained about me never going to their house for Thanksgiving for 5 years now. Well, because the last time he was there, Josh, the high school kid he went to high school with, was there. And they obviously wasn't there to do some housework or yard work or be the pool boy. I again told her I need my space from them. Then she asked me, how long are we going to do this? She started crying after that. Mom cries a lot. My dad apparently took the phone from her and he apologized for my mom's behavior. He then pleaded with me at least to stay about 1 hour. I stood my ground and told him no. He responded by saying, well, sorry for bothering you, and hung up on me. After 2 hours, I get 2 lovely calls from both my aunts from my mother's side. One was calling me an a-hole and the other begging me to come through. My mood is effed up right now. So again, the female relatives on mom's side giving him shit. Again, auntie, what I would say, I'm now 24, 25 years old. I'm a grown-ass man. I've always been respectful, but we're at the point now this is ridiculous. Mind your own business or we're going to have a fucking problem. And they can either respond to it how they choose. But if at the end of the day, guys, the way I see it, nothing can bring more drama to a person's life, man or woman, as family. It should be that should be the last place you should get drama and turmoil, but that's where a lot of the worst of it comes from. And for him, if it feels that I just can't have a relationship with him because of resentment or just I don't like that lifestyle, whatever happens to me, it's his choice. Even if everybody in the world disagree with him, it's his life. And the friends, family, girlfriend, her parents, soon-to-be in-laws, don't understand that, then it's time for him to distance himself from them. But who knows? At the end of the day, that'd be nice if he could forgive him for him peace in his heart. But his parents they're teenagers that never grew up. That's what it sounds like to me. They should never had children. But anybody can have kids, unfortunately. Now some comments here to wrap this up. One guy says here, I'd be tempted to be very clear with the extended family that you're tired of coming second best to your parents and their polyamorous lifestyle. And you'd be very surprised that they want to talk to you all of a sudden. Where were your extended relatives all those years? Right. Where were they when he obviously was feeling neglected? And that guy says here, where were you both when they neglected me as a child? You guys weren't there. You weren't there for my trauma. I don't have to give someone my time when they didn't give me theirs. You are hypocrites who should have given me my parents' dyslexia when I was a child being there. I don't have to forgive anyone. Exactly. Next one says here, I'll be honest, the whole time I was reading this post, I kept thinking this couple shouldn't have a kid. Like, you want your life to revolve around swinging, effing other couples, and constantly dating as poly, go ahead. But now they made a child and then neglected him in favor of their lifestyle. I really feel for the OP because not only are they his parents, they're constantly proving themselves to be selfish and emotionally manipulative, but he also faces an unbelievable amount of pressure for everyone in his life, including his girlfriend, to ignore his entirely justified feelings and forgive them instead. None of these people know what it's like to be him. That's a big problem I have here. But in life, everybody's willing to point their fingers at you and be judgmental without actually going through what you're going through. Another guy says, if you're going to engage in something quite out of the mainstream, such as polyamory lifestyle, that's fine, but sometimes there are consequences you cannot foresee. Nobody ever thinks about consequences. Other people, friends, relatives, have the absolute right to make their own judgment of you and your behavior and to act accordingly. And those actions may include no further contact. You do not have the right to dictate to the others, accept your choices, or require that remain part of your lives. The parents made a choice, and now they have to live with it. And he may never talk to him again, but the best thing they can do is let him go. Give him space. That's all they can do. And maybe in time, he'll then reach out. But the constant shaming and drama and waterworks and the relatives coming after him, better way to go. One more. Guy says, the fact that they are swingers isn't the problem. It's that they put their time and energy into their sex life instead of building on their relationships. I love how the poly group said he was being too harsh. He isn't. If the parents only spent time together, it would be just as toxic. It is a problem. It sounds like they alienated a lot of people around them, and now they are looking for someone to love them unconditionally. That is not what being a parent is supposed to be about. If they want to be loved unconditionally, they can get a dog. Correct. Exactly. Yeah, because he did say a lot of people cut them off. So I wonder what that is about. But clearly they burnt bridges before. But they think because it's their son, they can manipulate him and all that. So I wish this guy the best, as well as I wish a lot of guys that read these stories the best. But to anybody out there that reads this or sees this video, understand that, fine, you're free to live a lifestyle you want, but when you bring kids into it, if you're going to choose your lifestyle over those kids, there's going to be consequences. And those kids are not dumb. They're going to notice this. And I feel bad for these kids that were neglected. The parents were never there. Strangers to the house, being subjected to all that. And there will be consequences. End of story. So I wish them the best. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.